I'd like to speak to you guys about the greatest illusion known to mankind. Okay? And that's called victim mentality. Now, a lot of people think they know what victim mentality is, and it's usually someone that complains or doesn't take responsibility for their actions and is blaming other people for their situation. So everyone knows about that, but that's not the full picture. It's only one spectrum of the picture. Okay? So, our mission as human beings on our journey towards enlightenment, believe it or not, is actually to create a model of reality that is based on laws, not on our perception. Okay? Think about that for a second. What we want in life, to be enlightened, conscious human beings, is we want to create a model of reality. How do things work in life? That's not based on our perceptions. That's based on something beyond our perceptions. Laws. Like, for instance, when was the last time you had to think about gravity? When was the last time you had to factor in and remind yourself about gravity when you were planning your day? When was the last time you did that? You didn't. Because the law of gravity, this gravitational pull, which is actually a form of cause and effect, according to a friend of mine who's a PhD scientist. Because it's not universal. It happens where there's an atmosphere and a gravitational pull. Right? So it's cause and effect. But essentially, we don't think about gravity because it is woven into the fabric of our models of reality. Okay? Not only that, but if I said to you, let's say Adolf Hitler and Mother Teresa weighed the same weight, let's say they both weighed 60 kilos, and they both fell off a building, they would both fall at the same speed to their death. Right? Is that fair? See, fair doesn't even come into it. Right? Fair doesn't even come into play. Because the laws exist. And they are rigid. And they're constant and consistent. And they're all the male attributes. They're objective. Okay? So, when we perceive things and we start to create a model of reality based on our perception, then it leads to something that's not truth. Okay? So truth is something that is eternal and it'll always be there. Right? And if I perceive a goal and I perceive that this goal is worthy of my time and of my effort and of my money, and I pursue it, then while I'm in pursuit of this worthy goal, for me that's truth, right? And then, at some point, if I find or discover that what I thought was truth was not truth, then what was it while I thought it was truth? Perception? An illusion. It is an illusion. That's the definition of an illusion. When something looks right, sounds right, feels right, but is not true, while I believe it to be real based on my senses, that is an illusion. Effectively, telling a person the truth when they don't know it is disillusionment. So, cause and effect, the logistics and the flow of the universe. If something's going to happen to you, it's not going to just happen, someone's going to bring it to you, right? It has to make its way to you because of the law of cause and effect. It's this flow. So this is how the mind perceives cause and effect, right? When something great happens to me, no one questions cause and effect because it's great. But when something bad happens to me, and it happened from someone else, the way the mind works is like this. Before you came along and did what you did to me, I was fine. Then you came along and you did whatever it was that you did, and now I've been impacted negatively. My conclusion is that my detriment is your fault. I blame you. Okay? And that just makes sense. Because it's true. Everything was fine. Then something happened, and now I'm not fine. So now my detriment is because of the last cause that had the negative effect that impacted me negatively. Right? So this is the illusion. This is the illusion. And the illusion is because it makes so much sense and there's so much logic. Especially when we warn people and da-da-da-da-da. So victim mentality is when you understand that life is on the cause end and me and my experience are on the effect end. That's it. That's victim mentality. We're not even getting into whining and complaining yet. Okay? So just the understanding that there is a hazy, mysterious something called life, and this life throws things. Sometimes it throws strawberries, nobody minds that. And sometimes it throws lemons. Yeah? But just the understanding that there is this thing called life that throws things is victim mentality. That's it. Okay, does that make sense? Right. Now, from this understanding, this whole paradigm opens up. This whole paradigm. And I need to explain to you what a paradigm is in a story. What a surprise. A paradigm is like a lens, an imaginary lens or a conceptual lens that sort of covers my eyes, not covers, but a lens through which all the information that I perceive gets filtered through. Okay, so if I had an entrepreneurial paradigm, then my mind would perceive business opportunity everywhere. Okay? So, the story I have to illustrate the magnitude of paradigm is with a guy called Johnny. And when Johnny was born, the doctor surgically attached red lenses to Johnny's eyes. So by the time Johnny is 45, how does he see the world?
Rose-colored glasses.
So, yeah, red. Yeah. So it's not as simple as that. There is an objective truth, and then there is that which is subjectively true for Johnny. So the objective truth is, yes, he sees everything as red. Okay? Fact, because he's got these lenses on. But for Johnny, Johnny just sees the world. He's completely unaware of the fact that there's this red thing. He would say to you, what's red? And you'd try to now explain to him without another frame of reference. Yeah, it would be like trying to explain to a fish that doesn't jump what water is. Okay? So here's the thing. If you told Johnny that he had red lenses on, you'd be challenging his model of reality. And the first thing that Johnny would do is he would cross his arms like this and he would say, you don't know me. What are you talking about, red? What doctor? You don't know me. And he'd get really defensive because you'd be challenging his model of reality. The very thing that's keeping everything together. But even if you got Johnny to trust you, and he says to you, okay, I've got red lenses on. Now what? I can't take them off. You've also got red lenses on. Now what? We say, okay, well, we've got to find a way for you to remind yourself that there's red lenses. Okay, are you with me? So how would that be? You say, I don't know, maybe you need to walk around with cherries. And that when you hold up the cherry, you see the green stuff and and then there's something invisible there because, I don't know, maybe red on red makes it invisible, and then you remember, oh, right, red lenses, and then you could feel them. Or maybe you'd walk around with roses and see a stem with no flower and realize, oh, hold on a second, it's red on red, there actually is a flower there. Oh, that's right, I've got red lenses on. Are you getting this, guys? Okay, so where does this come to play in victim mentality? When a person is not aware of the truth, which is that every person has a vibration and the universe responds to that vibration with an experience. So the truth is that in terms of cause and effect, me and my vibration are on the cause end and my experience is on the effect end. Okay? Life's not on the cause side. I'm on the cause side and my experience is the effect. That's creator mentality.
Is it simply just by swapping the two?
Yes, it is, and I'm going to tell you why and how. Okay? Because I, as a breakthrough coach, I deal with the positive extreme of victim mentality. And I'll explain what that means. Okay? Understanding that life is on the cause end and I'm on the effect end is the equivalent of saying, like, we're under fire. I'm under fire by life. Okay? I'm under fire. The strawberries I don't mind, but the lemons, I'm under fire. I've got to dodge these bullets. So let's think about this for a second. Let's think that we were all camping on a mountain site and there was 100 of us. And then all of a sudden, there were snipers on the top of the mountain and we came under fire. We legitimately came under fire. Snipers shooting, bah, bah, and you could see our people going frantic. There is a general consensus that we are under fire. Okay? Effectively victim mentality. Right? From this understanding that we are under fire, two types of people will emerge. The male extreme, the positive, the electro, the want to help. And this is called the rescuer. Okay? So the rescuer in this we're under fire thing would be the one that goes, we're okay, guys, come on, we can get through this. We're all under fire here, but we can get through it if we just spread out. If we just spread out. You guys go under those cars. You go over there, you go over there, you go over there, right? Those would be the positive ones, the electro, male. And then there would also be the negative spectrum of victim mentality. Yeah? The victim. We are doomed. We're doomed. Can't move. Paralyzed. Can't move. Can't move. Rescuers, like, come on guys, we can do it. Come on. You go over there, you go over there, you go over there. Come on, come on, come on. I'll help you, I'll help you, I'll help you. Victims. Oh, we're doomed. We're dead, we're dead, we're dead. And then what do you think would happen when the rescuer wants to come to the victim to save, yeah, to help, right? But now the victim is too paralyzed to move. How does the rescuer now behave with the victim? Is it gentle? It's frantic. Come on, don't you, get up, come on, I'll pick you up, come on. Okay? Can you see that scenario in your minds? Okay, so how does that exact scenario play out in everyday life? Just by understanding that we're all under fire. In life you have rescuers, and in life you have victims. The victim mentality that you think you know is this one over here. The negative spectrum of this whole paradigm. Don't get confused with this victim as the archetype here, and the name of the mentality, which is victim mentality. Don't get confused, just like you don't get confused between the Coca-Cola company and Coca-Cola. All right? This victim mentality is a victim of life. This one over here is the one that's actually like being negative about it. Yeah? Great attitude, we shall overcome. Really bad attitude, we're all doomed. Okay? But the thing here is that what you need to understand is that both of these people believe that we're under fire by life. Okay? Now, if you've ever heard that opposites attract, that's not true. Opposites do not attract. What happens is that when there is a bandwidth that has these polarities will attract as long as they are of the same bandwidth. Okay? Opposites don't really exist, at least not in the laws. Opposites are oppositional, geographical. I am opposite to Darren.
May I ask a question?
Of course you can.
So on that model, you're saying that the rescuer cannot exist without the victim, right?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that within this mentality, the positive will attract the negative, and the negative will attract the positive. A victim and a rescuer will always come together.
Will always attract each other.
Always.
Okay.
Always, without fail. It's a law. Okay? And I'm going to show you how accurate this is when we go into it now. Okay? So these two will always attract each other in friendships, in partnerships, and in relationships. Okay? Now when these two meet, it's a very pleasant interaction. Okay? Because rescue here is electro, wants to give help. Yeah? Let me save you. Victim is magnetic. Female needs to receive. Yeah? Giver and receiver, male and female. Right? So when rescuer wants to give help and victim wants to receive help, very, very, very pleasant interaction. It feels like a good relationship. He or she feels fulfilled. Because all this person really wants to do is do good in the world. That's really all a person wants to do is do good. And this person over here is also very happy because finally someone understands them and their harsh predicaments and is finally there for them. So I don't know what I would ever do without you. I'll always be there for you. And if this is a romantic relationship, it feels like true love. I don't know what I'd do without you. If this is a man, I'll never let anything bad ever happen to you. If it's a woman, as long as we're together, we can overcome anything.
Is that the system that the world commonly runs on?
It's a paradigm, bro. It's not really a system, it's a paradigm. It's a paradigm because it's all based on senses. It's all based on perception, right? But now this is what happens when they meet, everything's cool. And when they meet and each one has their roles met and everything's cool. But what happens is, this victim over here is always having something happen to them, okay? Because they're in a negative vibration and they're always perpetuating things that are happening. Once a week, twice a week, it's always something. Who's the first person that the victim calls when something happens? The rescuer. Why? Because the rescuer was available. Yeah? Initially, whenever the victim called, the rescuer would drop everything and run to the rescue. And after the rescue, everything feels great. And then it'll happen another once or twice, and the rescue will happen again. But after a while, this rescuer goes like, shoo! Phone's ringing and again. I know what this is about now. Yeah, it gets old. Now, not only that, the rescuer is electro, it's male, it's proactive. This over here, not proactive. They sit around and do nothing until things get bad. And they complain about it. Right? So what happens is, when the victim calls the rescuer and says, help, look what happened to me now, look what happened to me now. And the rescuer says, no. I'm not available this time. For whatever reason. It could be in a nice way, it could be in a abrupt manner, whatever it is, just I'm not available and you just sort this out yourself. So now the victim is denied his or her role of receiving help because of look how I've been, And then what happens is then the victim panics because there isn't this male-female interaction now. And so victim panics and slips into another archetype called tyrant. The tyrant version of the victim. And the tyrant version of the victim says the following rant. Do you know how hard I've had it? What do you mean you won't help me? Do you know what happened to me last night? Do you know what's happened to me last week? Do you know what happened to me? The job I had? The ordeal I had? I couldn't sleep last night. Look what happened to my leg. Look what happened to my arm. Look what they did to my house. And there's all this real proof, real evidence, not making it up. Not making it up. Real evidence. Okay? And basically saying, where's your compassion, man? Can you not see how I have been a legitimate victim of life? How I am legitimately scarred and bruised? Look at all this proof. Where's your compassion? And sometimes, not often, sometimes it'll work, but other times it won't. But that's the victim rant. Okay? The rescuer, when the rescuer sees the victim doing nothing and watching TV, and the rescuer says, "Whoa, hold on a second. You need to get off your bum and do something now, because if you don't, you're going to call me again next week, just like you did last week and the week before that. So get up and do something now. I'll help you. I'll lend you my car. I'll take you here. I'll take you there. Rescue, fix. I'll speak to your boss. I'll help you with your CV, your resume. I'll do this. I'll do that." But now, if there's no pressure, victim is not going anywhere. Victim's not doing anything. So victim says, "No, I'm not available now, for whatever reason, a nice way, an abrupt way, whatever way. I'm not available." So now rescuer, who's ready to give, there's no one to receive. So now rescuer gets denied this role. And then rescuer slips into tyrant, but not through panic, through rage. And the rescuer tyrant says the following rant: "Do you know where I would be in life if it wasn't for you? Do you know what I have sacrificed for you? I could have gone there in life. I had a perfectly good opportunity and I didn't because of you. And I could have gone there in life and I didn't because of you. And I could have done this and I didn't because of you. And this because of you. And now you dare deny my help? I just want what's best for you. You'll thank me one day. I'll cut you off here. I'll cut you off there." So I deal with rescuers because rescuers are proactive. Rescuers come to me for help. And I've got to tell rescuers that they've got victim mentality. Not because they whine, because they believe that life is happening to them. There can be no sustainable breakthrough in victim mentality. Do you know why? Because in this mentality, in this paradigm, you're either in blaming or you're in the final stages of resentment or despair. Okay? That's why. This is the truth. Your core beliefs create on a level of divine fusion your vibration. You've got a batch of positive beliefs about yourself, but before that, before the age of 10, you've got a batch of negative beliefs about yourself. What in Jungian psychology is referred to as the shadow. And your shadow beliefs are the negative force that you have gravitated towards the polarity of. Anything in your life that you have an area of excellence in, an area of passion, an area of expertise, an area where you are just really good, and you just feel so effortlessly at ease when you're doing it, that is because of your shadow beliefs. The negative that after puberty and growing up created the positive. Sometimes you gravitated towards it early in your 20s, sometimes in your 30s, sometimes in your 40s. This is all just a realization. It's all just a realization. Okay? So, how do you catch yourself in victim mentality? Remember, Johnny needs a reminder for him to remember that he's got red lenses on because he can't take them off. Right? We cannot see our vibration. You got to know that it's there. You got to train your mind to understand that we as human beings, we emit a frequency that is electro. And the entire universe responds to us with an experience. There is nothing else. There was nothing else. And there never will be anything else. The one thing that compensates or caters for your hardships is that if you want to achieve a certain something in your life, the minute that you decide on it, you start attracting to yourself all the negatives, all the necessary resistance. Remember, negative doesn't mean bad, and positive doesn't mean good. Negative, by definition, means deep. Positive, by definition, means outwards. Right? Imagine this was 3D. Can you see this? 3D. And if this was 3D, this would go down, would be deep, and this would protrude. Right? All there was, all there is, and all there ever will be is a vibration. And you putting yourself through the necessary resistance you need in order for you to blossom. Just like what happens in an oyster. Yeah? Not an oyster. Is it an oyster? What makes the pearls?
Yes, oyster.
An oyster, right. So how do they make a pearl? They put like a grain of sand into the oyster, and then the discomfort causes the pearl. Did you know that? Yeah. All right? So the reason that this is so important is because this is the only paradigm where you get to have peace. It's the only paradigm where you get to have peace. Here, people blame. Here, people own. Here, people have to be right because of all the proof. Look how I've been wronged. Look at all this proof. I have to be right. It's the only thing I got going for me at the moment because of my detriment. Yeah? Over here, people choose to be wise. And they let someone else be right. Okay? Because right people suffer from resentment and despair. Wise people have inner peace. And why is that important? Why is that important? Because of the pH equivalent. Remember I said to you yesterday that the human being has a number of equivalents? So if I say right now, I am happy. That's my emotional state. I am happy. But that exact emotional state has got other equivalents, other human equivalents. It has a vibrational equivalent. So when I say I'm feeling happy, if I could tell my frequency of vibration, I could say to you, I'm currently vibrating at whatever hertz it would be. And that would be the vibrational equivalent of this emotional state called I'm happy. That exact same thing could have a biochemical equivalent. I could say I'm experiencing a certain amount of dopamine or serotonin to a certain part of my brain. And it means the same thing. Are you with me? But the thing that counts the most on a practical, real level of health is your pH equivalent. Your pH. The levels of alkaline, positive, and acid, negative, in your body. Because in this mentality, in this paradigm, people are sick. The whole pharmaceutical industry exists because of this illusion. Please try comprehend that for a second. Please try comprehend that for a second.
Question.
Yeah.
Who creates the illusion?
It's based on logic. It's based on creating a model of reality. It's logic. I'm fine now. You do something, not on purpose. You do something and then something falls on my head or something chops my arm off. So now I'm walking around without an arm, and according to my logic, my perception, you did this. Can you understand? You see where the illusion is? It's just based on logic. Everything was fine. Yeah, if you hadn't done that, then that wouldn't have happened to me. Now that it has happened to me, is because of you. You did that, it happened to me, and I was now on the receiving end. You were the cause, and my chopped off arm is the effect. It just makes logical sense, and that's why it's an illusion. Okay? Whereas over here, if you understand that every single person in your life, every single person that you interact with, is simply living out and manifesting your vibration, where's blaming? It doesn't exist. It does not exist. Look at this.
Can I also say that your way of creator mentality is taking responsibility and victim mentality is not? Okay.
But I'm saying that it's not just taking responsibility, because taking responsibility for a person who doesn't understand this vibration would just be the equivalent of just like taking it on the chin.
Okay.
Yeah? I take it on the chin. Okay, I take responsibility. All right. Whereas the person says, not only do I take responsibility for what happened, I'm taking responsibility for my vibration. So much so that I'm putting me on the cause side and you walking there on the effect side. Not you walking there on the cause side, that thing falling over and chopping me on the effect side. Do you understand? Yeah. Aho.